Hello everyone. In this episode of Paint.net tutorial, I'm going to show you how to add different types of blur effects and their common uses. The first one, which is perhaps the most common one, is the blur effect that is used to hide certain part of the image, such as somebody's face in a group picture, or a picture taken in a public place, like the one shown here. So to blur a certain part of an image, first make a selection over the area of the image you want to blur, using any of the select tools that suits your need. For example, here I'm gonna blur this guy's face first. Now go to the menu bar and click Effects. On the Effects menu, select Blurs, and then click Gaussian Blur. Or if you have installed the Pyrakyle plugins pack, you may use Pixelate plus Blur effect. So for this first example, I'm gonna use the Pixelate plus Blur effect. On the Pixelate plus dialog, adjust the cell size by dragging the width or height slider, until you get the desired blur effect. Now to show you the Gaussian Blur effect, I'm gonna blur the number on this guy's shirt. Click and drag the radius slider until you get the desired blur effect. You may play with the gamma and quality settings, but for this simple purpose, the default settings are sufficient. Alright, the next type of blur effect is the motion blur effect. This blur effect is usually added to a picture of a moving subject, like the one I'm showing you here, to create a speeding effect like this. To add the motion blur effect to an image, on the Blur's Effects menu, click the Motion Blur. On the Motion Blur dialog, first adjust the blur distance, and then adjust the angle, until you get the desired result. The third type of blur effect that I'll be showing you here, is the Radial Blur effect, which is usually added to an image to create a spinning impression, like the one on this image. To add this effect, first, select the part of the image that is to be blurred. Then on the Blur's Effects menu, click Radial Blur. On the Radial Blur dialog, click and drag the cross sign on the center preview to set the center of rotation of the spinning effect. And then adjust the angle until you get the desired radial blur effect. And finally, the last blur effect that I'd like to show you here, is the artistic zoom blur effect. To add this blur effect, on the Blur's Effect menu, click the Zoom Blur. On the Zoom Blur dialog, first click and drag the cross sign on center preview to set the center of the zoom effect. And then you can adjust the distance and focus until you get the desired result. Alright, so that's how easy it is to add various types of blur effects in Paint.net. I hope you find this tutorial useful, and thank you for watching.